Malamig sa Japan. Maririnig nyo ba? Hello po, good morning or good afternoon. Alauna pasado na, ngayon pa lang ako magluluto ng lunch. Habang nakikinig ng worship song. Ay, malaga. Hello. Morning. Bumagsak yung kawali ko. Hulaan nyo kung ano lulutuin ko. Ako'y magluluto ng adobo habang nakikinig ng worship song. May mga comment ba? Hindi ko makita yung comment. Kangen water. That's ang aking water. Walaan nyo ang aking lulutuin. Adobong maraming patatas. Dahil mahal na ang rice sa Japan, dadamihan ko na lang din ang patatas para hindi na maghanap ng kanin ng aking mga alaga. Mega love shout out dyan sa inyo. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm cooking adobo, chicken adobo while listening. So, my intentions to copyright. Adobo. Hiwa-hiwa ng chicken. Hiwa ng sibuyas. Isang buong malaking sibuyas. Sinasama ko na yan para masarap. Kasi hindi ako naglagay ng mga kung ano pang pampalasa. Tsaka sayang din. Pagka bili ako to, hindi naman ako madalas magluto. Sayang. Mabubulok. Hello, I swallow. Oh, Big Wang? Oh no, I don't know Big Wang. I am Big Wang. Wow, I didn't know there's a name like that. Big Wang. I'm Big Wang. Nani? Nani pang? I swallow ka? Where you came from? Where are you tuning in? I am Filipina. I live here in Japan. I am cooking chicken adobo. Famous chicken adobo. Tabitinay? Bada tabitinay?
夕食とは
これだよ、作るよ。こんだけかわいそうな、このじいさん。あ、時間ない？Umukay, suro. Umukay. Do you know how to learn adobo? Well, chicken adobo is very easy. I don't need to gisa-gisa. I will just put everything and that's it. What? I did apa? Makasih mo di ka kilo, makulong ma ito pa. Makasih mo di ka coffee. Coffee nonde. Asoko. Ista. Ista. Coffee shop. I'm going to coffee shop. Ista. Alps no. Takao coffee shop. So I just put everything. It's not visible. And then I will put even the, what's this? Potato. Yeah, everything is easy. If it's pork, it's different strategy or it's different technique. Going to be the rice because rice is so expensive. But anyway, I don't have. I want more garlic. Those are garlic night. And then vinegar, and soy sauce.
これで飲んでんの？
はい、私だよ。
牛乳のこれ大丈
その牛乳は大丈夫だよ。もう違う。ソイソース。And the vinegar, where's my vinegar?
夫？
ビニガーのお父さんでしょこれ。
ここも
そう、ビニガーね。
上。
So I can't read, so yes. Is that enough? So ako pa nagluto is chamba-chamba lang yung yung walang proper because I think that's Filipino thing. Okay. And dama da na. Nesumi dame da na. Ya da na. Urusahin na my Gigi here. So I need to put in boil. And black pepper. Baba ng kalan ko. Okay. is this? Okay.1枚はダメだよ。あなた、もう電気問題ないでしょ。なんで1回だけ、1回は2つやって。頭ね、すごいね、あなたの頭。問題ないでしょ、電気。あなたでしょ。でもあなたわからないね。問題ないあれば、もう1回だけやって、何回も2つ、3枚。3枚もできるよ。じゃあ2枚はやってよ。でも一つ一つダメだよ。もったいないよ、電気。まあな、私だったらあなたうるさいね。でもあなた見て、あなたの感じはダメだよ。2枚だよ。これがいいよ。これよ。これね。今度これね。これ使って2枚、2枚できるよ。でしょ。口ね、やりてよ。口。あ、じゃないよ。問題ない。電気、私払うよ。ね。電気は高い。でもあなたできない。セービングはできない、本当。ネズミ。見て、ネズミのプー。ネズミのうんこ。いや、ね、なんでこれは開ける。見て。これはオープンだから。あそこ、スタオープンだから。だから入るよ。ね。あなたのせい、あなた汚いから。はあ、このおじいさん、ゴミだけ大好き。うちは大事しない。ゴミは大事だって。ねえ、ゴミ大事。おかしい。大事だよ、大事だよ。ゴミ。 Hello, Jason. Shalom. Sayonara on tonight. Oh, from USA. Hey, Jason Bender. Mega love shout out. Yeah, it's good night for US. It's good afternoon here in Japan. Can you hear the music in the background? And I have a Matagal na yun.
Dito.
Let's see about this.
In the beginning, darkness reigned over the abyss, yet God's Spirit hovered above the waters, ready to work wonders. With a single command, God transformed the void into something extraordinary. Suddenly God said, "Let there be light," and as if by magic, light was born. God saw that the light was good and separated it from the darkness. He called the light day and the darkness night. Evening came and morning followed. This was the first day. Thus the first day came to an end. The next day God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters to separate them." And so it happened. God divided the waters in two, those below and those above, which God called sky. Evening came and morning followed. This was the second day. On the third day, God said, "Let the waters under the sky gather into one place, and let dry ground appear." And so it happened. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters seas. And once again, God marveled at his work. But the Lord didn't stop there. He continued, saying, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees that bear fruit with seed, each according to its kind." And so it happened. From the bare earth, vegetation began to sprout, seed-bearing plants and trees bearing fruit with seed, each according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Evening came and morning followed. This was the third day. The next day, God proclaimed, "Let there be lights in the sky to separate day from night. Let them serve as signs to mark seasons, days, and years." And so the lights appeared in extraordinary fashion, dancing across the firmament, marking the rhythm of seasons and the passage of days and years. Two majestic celestial bodies emerged, the greater, an imposing king ruling the day with its blinding light, the sun, and the lesser answer, a mysterious queen watching over the night with a soft radiance, the moon. The stars, like tiny jewels, scattered across the sky, illuminating the earth with their twinkling brilliance. And God, pleased with his creation, smiled at the harmony of light and darkness. But creation was not yet complete. On the fifth day, God declared, "Let the waters teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky." In an instant, the waters came alive, teeming with marine creatures of all shapes and sizes. Enormous sea animals plowed through the depths, while schools of colorful fish swam in perfect synchrony. In the sky, birds spread their wings, painting the heavens with their exotic plumage and filling the air with their melodious songs. God, pleased with his work, blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters of the seas, let the birds multiply across the earth." Evening came, then morning, the fifth day. The once silent earth trembled as the Lord spoke again. "Let the land produce living creatures, livestock, wild animals, and creatures that move along the ground, each according to its kind." In the blink of an eye, the earth transformed into a paradise teeming with life. Herds of animals grazed in lush meadows, while wild beasts roared in the jungles. Reptiles of every kind crawled across the ground, leaving their marks on the newly created earth. And God, beholding the diversity and beauty of his creation, saw that it was good. But the final piece, the masterpiece of creation, was yet to come. God, with a solemn and purposeful tone, declared, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness. Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." And so God created mankind in his own image, and bestowed upon them an extraordinary gift, dominion over all creation, destined to govern and care for all the wonders God had made. But God, in his infinite wisdom, knew his creatures would need sustenance. So, with a generous gesture, he declared, "Behold, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They shall be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, I give every green plant for food." And it was so. When God looked upon all that he had made, his heart swelled with satisfaction. It was a masterpiece, a testament to his infinite power and love. And so, as night fell and dawn broke the sixth day, God beheld his creation and saw that it was very good. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing, so on that day he rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. This is the account of the heavens and the earth when we were created. Now no shrub had yet appeared on the earth, and no plant had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being, his lungs filled with air, and his heart beats from it. His eyes opened for the first time, marveling at the world around him. In an act of love, God decided to create a special place for mankind. He planted a garden in the east of Eden, making every kind of tree grow that was pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden, he placed the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Eden was not only a feast for the eyes, but also a source of life and sustenance. From its depths flowed a crystal clear river that watered the garden, splitting into 4 streams that stretched to the ends of the earth. eat from every tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For on the day you eat from it, you will surely die. This was the only word that God gave to me. Then God, the Lord, showed the man all the animals of his creation, so that he could name them. And so the man gave names to all living creatures, to all domestic animals, to all the birds of the sky, and to all the wild animals. Yet despite the beauty and diversity of creation, the man felt incomplete. God, in his infinite wisdom, understood the man's need and said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a suitable helper for him." Then God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the place with cloth. With the rib in his hands, the Lord God shaped a woman, a perfect companion for man. Every curve, every feature was molded with love and purpose. Suddenly, the man awoke and gazed in wonder at the woman God had created. His voice quivered with emotion. He exclaimed, "At last, this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." The man named his wife Eve, for she would become the mother of all living. From that moment on, it was established that a man would leave his father and mother to be united with his wife, and the two would become one flesh. Thus, in the midst of the lush garden teeming with life, the story of humanity began. In that time of innocence and purity, the man and woman were naked, yet they felt no shame. Their nakedness reflected the transparency of their souls and their complete trust in their Creator and themselves. Adam and Eve lived in a state of absolute bliss in the incredible Garden of Eden. Their days were filled with laughter and walks along flower-like paths, exploring Eden's corners, marveling at each new creature and delicious fruit they discovered. Their hearts overflowed with gratitude to God for the abundance He had bestowed upon them. But in the garden's shadow was a cunning figure watched. The serpent, with a wicked smile, slithered up to Eve. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" It was good, sowing doubt. Eve hesitated but replied innocently, "We may eat fruit from all the trees except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." "You will not certainly die." The serpent's voice grew more intense, laden with seduction. "Your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." addressed them and said, "The human has become like one of us, knowing good and evil." With a heavy heart and firm resolve to protect his creations, God finally banished man and woman from the Garden of Eden. That place of perfect communion and beauty could no longer be their home, for sin had entered the world. As they walked away, the garden vanished from sight, and the first sunset outside Eden painted the sky red. The creation of the universe, filled with wonders and tragedies, marked the beginning of an eternal story of struggle, redemption, and hope. In the arid plains east of Eden, Adam and Eve had two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain, the firstborn, toiled over the sprouting sun, pulling weeds from the earth. Abel, his younger brother, led his flock through the pastures, his face lit with the peace Cain had never known. One day Cain shouted, "Abel, God seems pleased with you, but not with my hands. What do you have that I don't?" Abel, stroking one of his lambs, calmly replied, "It's the heart, brother. God looks at the heart." Abel's words echoed in Cain's mind. Days passed, and envy grew like a shadow within him. One night under a sandstone sky, Cain made a decision. "Come to the field with me tomorrow," he told Abel, his eyes hiding his true intentions. At dawn, the brothers met in the fields. The tension was palpable, the air heavy. "Why does God favor you and not me?" Cain asked, his voice a dangerous whisper. "It's our faith, Cain. God wants us to give our best with sincerity," Abel replied, not sensing the threat. Suddenly, the calm of the field was shattered by a dulling thud. Cain, with a stone in hand, struck Abel on the head. Abel fell to the ground, his eyes filled with surprise and pain. "Cain, my brother," he murmured, before his voice was silenced forever. The once vibrant earth, a stage for life, became the first witness to history's oldest crime. Abel's blood soaked the ground, crying out to heaven for justice. Cain, his hands trembling and stained red, stared in horror at what he'd done. Suddenly, a voice thundered in his mind, powerful and all-knowing. "Where is your brother Abel?" "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Cain replied, his voice cracking with fear and guilt. God sternly declared, "Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. You are cursed, banished from this land that has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood." The tragedy of Cain and Abel was etched into humanity's heart, an eternal reminder of envy and hatred's destructive power. Time passed, but the earth had become corrupt. Mankind's wickedness had grown immense. God, looking down with sorrow, decided to end the depravity. Yet amidst this darkness, hope rested on one man. Noah. At 600 years old, Noah felt the weight of his age. As he gazed at the dark sky, he sensed his end was near. The world
何時でかける
utterly cold,
何時
drowning in evil and violence. God's voice resonated, deep and clear. "No, I have decided to put an end to all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. Build an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside with a fish." The enormity of these words left him breathless. God had chosen them, of all people, for a task beyond his comprehension. Noah obeyed immediately, but it wasn't easy. His family doubted him and whispered what in his heart. "Is he crazy? An ark in the middle of dry land?" his children murmured. Neighbors mocked him, their laughter filled with contempt. "Building a boat on dry land, Noah? You're insane. Judgment is coming," Noah warned, his voice firm and his eyes full of conviction. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Each day was a marathon of physical and mental effort. The tension was palpable. Time seemed to run faster than they could work. Amid the construction,
あ、どこ
moments
chicken adobo. One of your favorite. Are you hungry? Why?
Quick! Hold it steady! Noah shouted, and his
Why are you hungry? Hungry or hungry? Hey, don't go anywhere. It's almost ready.
Noah and his wife paused to survey the area. Do you really think this will work? She asked, doubt showing in her voice. It's
So here, may adobo. It's chicken adobo. It's ready. It looks pale, but it's okay. The color, the taste is okay. Adobong may patatas. So, para yung patatas na yung pinaka-rice. Okay, that's enough.
also 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens, male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the earth. At dawn, from the farthest corners of the earth, the animals began to arrive. Elephants, lions, deer, and birds of every hue and size converged on a single point, as if guided by an invisible force. The air crackled with tension and urgency. The timing was impeccable, but the challenge lay in maintaining calm amidst the chaos. As the last pair of animals boarded the ark, the sky suddenly darkened. The first raindrops fell, followed by an unrelenting downpour. Everyone inside, Noah commanded his family. He entered the ark, glancing back one final time at the world they were leaving behind. Suddenly,
Shower
the
sinay,
doors of
no?
the ark
Sugoi na eh.
began to close. A strong wind gusted,
AJ,
and the rain
oide!
started to fall with fury. Droplets
AJ,
turned
wa?
to torrents in
Una
mere
kasi ta dati.
seconds.
Kawai so na eh.
The first curious
Dozero. Kung wasay ko no tabi mo no dayo. Dozero.
Noah was right, they cried,
Sabi
rushing
na,
towards
no?
the ark, desperately pounding on the
Kawai
doors.
so na.
Let us
Wala
in.
si Tachi.
But it was too late. The waters rose rapidly, swallowing cities and mountains whole. The screams outside faded away, replaced by the unsettling sound of water and creaking wood. Inside the ark, Noah and his family listened to the roar of divine judgment, their hearts filled with fear, but also hope. God, why us? Asked one of Noah's sons, his voice trembling. Because we found favor in his eyes, Noah replied, his words heavy with gratitude and awe. For 40 days and 40 nights the rain did not cease. The ark rose above the waters, floating on an endless sea of destruction. Finally the flood subsided, and the ark came to rest on Mount Ararat. Noah, shaking, opened the window and sent out a dove. On the third attempt, the dove returned with an olive leaf in its beak. The earth is dry, Noah announced, his voice filled with hope. The sun rose on the horizon, bathing the renewed earth in its warm light. Noah and his family gazed upon the new world that awaited them. Then God spoke once more. Leave the ark, you and your wife, your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature, that
Otosan
is
AJ on there.
the birds,
Onegashimasu.
the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in
Hi.
I am making a covenant.
It's
with
me
you,
after
God
40
said,
days.
his voice echoing in the clean air. Never
Watch
again
it.
will I destroy
Yeah, let's watch
all
the
life
movie.
with a flood. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. A brilliant, colorful rainbow appeared in the sky, a symbol of God's
Ow.
promise. Noah and his family, standing on the renewed earth, looked to the future with hope, knowing they had witnessed and survived the greatest judgment the world had ever known. The sun shone upon the new earth, and life flourished under God's blessing. Noah, having fulfilled his mission, decided to plant a vineyard. In time, the vines grew and bore fruit, and Noah, hoping to celebrate new life, made wine. One evening, after a hard day's work, Noah drank from the fruit of his vineyard. The wine, strong and intoxicating, soon took effect. Noah, unaware, fell asleep in his tent, naked and exposed. Ham, one of his sons, entered the tent and saw his father in this state. Instead of covering him and respecting his dignity, Ham went out and mocked him to his brothers. "Come, look at old Noah. He's drunk and naked," Ham said, his voice filled with contempt. Shem and Japheth, upon hearing Ham's words, looked at their brother with disapproval. "This isn't right," Shem said sternly. Without another word, they took a blanket, walked backward to avoid seeing their father's nakedness, and respectfully covered him. The next morning, Noah awoke. The wine's hangover was nothing compared to the humiliation he felt upon learning what had transpired. "Ham, what have you done?" he asked, his voice filled with pain and disappointment. Ham, seeing the fury in his father's eyes, remained silent. Noah, overcome with anger and sorrow, pronounced a curse. "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be to his brothers." Then Noah turned to Shem and Japheth, who had covered him with respect. "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant." Noah, the righteous man who had survived the flood, was also human and susceptible to weaknesses. Time passed, and the new earth began to fill with life and activity. Noah, the man who had weathered the flood, watched his children and grandchildren grow in a renewed world. His three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, became the patriarchs of many nations, their descendants spreading across the earth.
You eat the potato because you don't have a
Shem,
gohan.
blessed by his father, became the ancestor of the Semites, including the Hebrews. Ham, despite the curse on his son Canaan, also saw his descendants multiply. His children became the fathers of many African and Asian nations, expanding to the southwest. Japheth, the youngest, watched his descendants spread north and west. His sons founded the European and Asian nations. Noah's days stretched on in peace and contemplation. He lived another 350 years after the flood, reaching the incredible age of 950. When Noah finally breathed his last, his family surrounded him. "A righteous man has died," Shem said, his words heavy with emotion, "but his spirit and teachings will live forever." Through Noah's sons, God repopulated the earth, giving rise to diverse peoples. Humanity, united by a single language, gathered in the vast plains of Shinar. "Let's build a city and a tower that reaches the heavens," proclaimed Nimrod, their leader. "We will make a name for ourselves, so we won't be scattered across the face of the earth." The project progressed rapidly. Bricks piled up and the tower rose imposingly toward the sky. "Higher," Nimrod commanded. "It must touch the firmament." But in heaven, God was watching. "Look," he said to the angels, "the people are one, and they all speak the same language. Nothing they set out to do will be impossible for them." Suddenly, the noise of work ceased. A laborer asking for more bricks was met with an incomprehensible response. "What did you say?" he asked, his face filled with confusion. The answer was a torrent of unintelligible words. "What's happening?" Nimrod shouted, trying to restore order, but words no longer made sense. Confusion spread like wildfire, swift and devastating. "I can't understand you. Speak clearly."
Do you remember this? The people is making a Tower of Babel.
Lifelong friends
They call it
looked
Tower
at
of
each other
Babel.
with eyes full
Why?
of despair.
Because they
"Nimrod,
want
do
to
something," they cried.
God changed their languages.
God has punished us, an old man shouted, his voice trembling with reverent fear. We must disperse. Suddenly, construction
Nani sa
halted.
gastiro?
The grand tower stood abandoned, a testament to human ambition and divine
Toke?
judgment. The groups of people now divided by
Toke,
land
may gani.
began to separate. Entire families set off in different directions, seeking new lands where they could understand one
You want
another.
more? You do it yourself. You know how to do it.
Standing
You
at the
need to
base of
learn
the
it.
tower, looked around. The city he had dreamed
Don't
of
tell
was
me you're
crumbling.
pogi.
This can't be, he muttered, but
Oh,
knew he had been
pogi,
defeated by a far greater power. From above, God watched the dispersal. So it shall be,
Look, my son,
he
pogi.
said, his voice resonating with authority and sorrow. Humanity will multiply and fill the earth, but they won't forget the price of their arrogance.
My son. Hi,
The
my
tower
son.
became ruins, a reminder of the day God confused languages and scattered mankind across the earth.
He's eating adobo.
Later, God
very
chose
yummy, I want more.
family to form the people
You can
who
get-
would be the instrument to bring the promised Messiah into the world. One night, as the stars shone brightly,
What do you
a
mean we have
heavenly
no
voice
rice?
spoke
This is
into
rice.
Abraham's
That's what I
heart and
told you.
said,
That's your rice.
"Leave your homeland and your father's house and go to the land I will show you." The voice wasn't audible to the ears, but it was clearer and more powerful than any thunderstorm. "I will make you into a great
Hey,
nation.
bring
I
this.
will bless
How could you?
those who bless
Why?
you and curse those
I'm
who
supposed to
curse
eat.
you.
What do you mean?
Through you,
Yeah.
all peoples on earth will be
No, you
blessed."
want right? Just put
Abraham
there.
was left breathless. How could an
Open.
ordinary man be chosen for such an
Put this
immense
next to
destiny?
the
Abraham was born in
over there.
Ur of the
And this is put
Chaldeans,
here.
a bustling
Diyan sa
Mesopotamian
baba.
city where the Tigris
Yung
and
alisin mo yan
Euphrates
doon.
rivers gave life to the land.
Yeah, there.
His father Terah was respected, but their days were simple, filled with rituals in a polytheistic society. A
Society.
divine call transformed him. A
Muhammad.
brutal awakening and a radical break. "Why me?" Abraham whispered under the starry sky. The night heaven seemed as infinite as the promise he had received. At 75 years old, his incredible story began. He decided to face his fears and depart. "We're leaving," he announced to Sarai, his wife.
I'm gonna go pee.
"Where to?" she asked, concern in her eyes. "To the land the Lord will show
Pilang,
us,"
di ba?
he replied with
Grabe ka naman. Pipi ka lang. Dala mo pa yung
With a
cellphone mo.
heart full of hope
You're
and
so
a burning
addict, eh?
faith, he obeyed the Lord. He set out with Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all their possessions. They headed towards Canaan. The journey was fraught with uncertainty, but divine promise guided them. They crossed Haran and finally reached Canaan, a land of rolling hills and fertile valleys. There dwelt the Canaanites in fortified cities, each ruled by its own king. Abraham traveled
Nani sa gastiro?
until he reached sacred Shechem, beneath the majestic oak of Moreh. Suddenly, the Lord appeared again and declared, "To your offspring I will give this land." Moved, Abraham built an altar there and prayed to the Lord. But soon, the promised land turned hostile. A severe famine struck Canaan, and the fertile soil turned to dust.
Mama,
Livestock
there's white
died and
stuff on the
provisions
floor.
grew scarce.
Yeah, I know.
One
What is
night,
that?
That's the
Abraham
candle.
lifted his eyes to the sky. "Why have you brought us
That's the
here?"
my
he
wax
cried,
candle.
seeking answers among the stars. Silence was his only answer. With a heavy heart, he made a decision. "We'll go to Egypt," he announced. Sarai looked at him with concern. "What about the Lord's promise?" "We must survive," Abraham replied, hiding his doubts behind a resolute gaze. The journey to Egypt would be dangerous, but staying meant certain death. On a starlit night, a powerful voice echoed in Abraham's mind. "Fear not, Abraham, I am your shield, your reward."
Fear
will be
not.
great."
Don't be
These
afraid.
words filled
God
his heart
said.
with hope. Fear still dwelled within him. He knew that Sarai, his beloved wife, was his greatest treasure, and feared for her life in unknown lands. He had to protect her at all costs when they reached Egypt, so he devised a plan. As they approached Egypt, Abraham stopped and spoke to Sarai. I know you're a beautiful woman, he said worriedly. When the Egyptians see you, they'll say, she's his wife, and kill me to have you. Please, say you're my sister. Sarai nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. They arrived in Egypt, a city marked by the stark contrast between opulent palaces and widespread slavery. But Abraham was right. Upon entering the city, all eyes were fixed on Sarai's beauty. The Egyptians took her to Pharaoh's palace, and Abraham received sheep, cattle, donkeys, servants, and camels as a reward. But the joy was short-lived. Mysterious plagues befell Pharaoh and his household, bringing chaos and despair. Furious and bewildered, Pharaoh confronted Abraham. What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Your deception has brought curses upon me. Take your woman and leave my land. Ashamed but relieved, Abraham departed Egypt with Sarai and all their possessions. As they journeyed toward Canaan, he reflected on what had transpired. The Lord is truly a shield and guide in times of uncertainty, he thought. Back in Canaan, Abraham, Sarai, and their nephew Lot faced a new challenge. Their flocks and wealth had grown so much that the land could no longer support them all. Shepherds began to quarrel, tension mounted, and the families were on the brink of conflict. Amidst the chaos, Abraham calmly called Lot. There must be no strife between us or our shepherds. We are family. Look at the land before us. If you go left,
Watch
I'll
this,
go
okay?
right. If you
I
choose
teach you.
right, I'll go
I will
left.
go out. You wanna join me? Go
Lot
down.
surveyed the
Where?
Jordan
Just
Valley,
downstairs
lush
to the
and
mall.
fertile
Just walk
like
around, and
Eden
then I'm gonna
itself.
get some papers in my car.
I'll choose the Jordan
don't want
Valley, he declared,
the
eager
potato
to
one.
prosper in those
Put it back and then
lands.
wash this because
So
Jung
they
Jung will
parted
eat that.
ways. Lot settled near Sodom,
I put
a
this
city
where?
notorious for
The
its
potato.
wickedness, while
Put it back.
Abraham remained in Canaan. That night,
And this put
the
in the
Lord
sink.
spoke to Abraham once more. Lift your eyes and look from where you stand, to the north and south, east and west. All the land you see, I will give to you and your offspring forever. Moved, Abraham built an altar to honor the Lord. Though facing challenges and tough choices, his faith grew stronger with each test. He knew he wasn't alone. Meanwhile, on the plains near Sodom, Lot began to experience the consequences of his decision. Shadows of corruption and danger loomed over him and his family. But Abraham was unaware of this, until one day, under the shade of the oaks of Mamre, he looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. Without hesitation, he ran to meet them and bowed low to the ground. My lord, he said urgently, if I have found favor in your eyes, let me bring you some water to wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat, so you can be refreshed and then go on your way. Very well, they answered, do as you say. Abraham hurried into the tent and said to Sarai, quick, get 3 seahs of the finest flour and knead it and bake some bread. Abraham rushed to the herd, chose the finest calf, and gave it to a servant to prepare at once. He served the feast with curds, milk, and meat, then stood by them under the tree as they ate. One of the men asked, where is Sarai, your wife? There, in the tent, Abraham replied. Then one of them spoke with authority. I will return to visit you in a year, and by then Sarai will have had a son. From the tent entrance, Sarai was listening. Hearing this, she laughed silently and thought, am I to have this pleasure now that I'm withered and my husband is old? The Lord said to Abraham, why does Sarai laugh? Does she think she can't have a child in her old age? Is anything impossible for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will return to you, and Sarai will have a son. After eating, the men rose and looked towards Sodom. Abraham walked with them to see them off. Then the Lord shared his plans with Abraham. The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin so grievous, that I will go down to see if their actions are as wicked as the reports reaching me. Abraham asked anxiously, will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous people in the city. Will you not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people there? The Lord replied, if I find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the whole city for their sake. Though I am but dust and ashes, I have been bold to speak. What if only 10 can be found? Abraham persisted. The Lord concluded,
順番にさせようか、お父さ
for
ん。
the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. After the conversation, Abraham returned to his tent with a heart full of fear. He knew his nephew Lot was in Sodom. Meanwhile, in Sodom, 2 angels were entering the city. Lot was sitting at the gateway, and when he saw them, he immediately got up and approached them. Please, my lords, come to your servant's house for the night, he pleaded. You can wash your feet, and in the morning continue on your way. They replied, no, we'll spend the night in the square. But Lot insisted so much that they agreed and went to his house. He prepared a feast for them and baked unleavened bread. Together they shared the meal. Suddenly, a mob surrounded the house with clubs in their hands and shouted, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out. Lot went out to speak with them, closing the door behind him. Please, my brothers, don't do this evil thing, he begged desperately. The enraged crowd responded, get out of our way. This foreigner came to live among us, and now he wants to be our judge. We'll treat you worse than them. They began to press against Lot, trying to break down the door. Suddenly, the angels struck the men outside with hands. They could no longer find the entrance. The angels said to Lot, do you have anyone else here? Get your family out of this place, because we are going to destroy it. The outcry against its inhabitants has reached the Lord, and he has sent us to destroy it. Lot rushed out to gather his family. Hurry, we must leave this place, he warned. The Lord is about to destroy the city. But they didn't believe him. The angels urged Lot, quick, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you'll be swept away when the city is punished. Lot hesitated, but the men grabbed his hand, along with his wife and daughters, and led them out of the city, for the Lord had mercy on him. Once outside, one of them said, run for your lives. Don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains, or you'll be destroyed. They ran as fast as they could towards Zoar, as the sky began to brighten with dawn. And with the first ray of sunlight, the Lord rained down sulfur and fire from the heavens upon Sodom and Gomorrah. He destroyed those cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants, and the vegetation on the ground. But Lot's wife couldn't resist and look back. In that instant, she turned into a pillar of salt. Miles away, at daybreak, Abraham went to the place where he had stood before the Lord and looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah. Suddenly, he watched in horror as thick smoke rose like the fumes from a furnace. A chill ran down his spine. The cities had been judged. Though divine judgment had fallen on these cities, the Lord remembered his promise to Abraham and saved Lot. The devastation served as a grim reminder of sin's consequences and the importance of obeying God. Abraham moved to the Negev region and settled as a foreigner in Gerar. Once again, Abraham introduced his wife by saying, she is my sister. Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent for Sarai and took her for himself. That night, God appeared to Abimelech in a dream and said to him, you are as good as dead because of the woman you have taken. She's a married woman. Startled, Abimelech replied, Lord, would you destroy an innocent nation? Didn't he tell me she is my sister? And didn't she also say he is my brother? I have acted with a clear conscience and clean hands. Then God said to him, Yes, I know you did this with a clear conscience, and so I have kept you from sinning against me. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not return her, you may be sure that you and all who belong to you will die. At dawn, Abimelech summoned all his servants and told them what had happened. Fear gripped them all. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said anxiously, "What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you that you've brought such great guilt upon me and my kingdom? You've done things to me that should never be done." Abraham replied, "I thought there was no fear of God in this place, and that you would kill me because of my wife. Besides, she truly is my sister, my father's daughter, but not my mother's, and she became my wife. When God had me leave my father's house, I told her, 'This is how you can show your love to me. Wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep, cattle, and male and female servants and gave them to Abraham. He also returned Sarai, his wife, to him. Abimelech said, 'My land is before you. Settle wherever you please.' But after this incident, the Lord visited Abraham and Sarai in a miraculous way, fulfilling his promise beyond what they could imagine. Sarai conceived and bore a son in her old age, just as God had announced. Abraham named him Isaac, obeying the divine instruction. Sarai, filled with joy, exclaimed, 'God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me.' When he was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised Isaac, faithfully following God's commands. He was 100 years old when his son was born, a living testimony to the Lord's power and faithfulness. On the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham threw a grand feast. Amidst the celebration, Sarai spotted Ishmael, the son of Hagar the Egyptian, mocking Isaac. 'So you're the chosen one,' Ishmael muttered. Isaac looked at him, bewildered. With a hardened expression, Sarai approached Abraham and said, 'Send away that slave woman and her son. The son of this slave will not share the inheritance with my son Isaac.' Abraham, taken aback by Sarai's vehemence, furrowed his brow. 'What are you saying?' he replied. 'Ishmael is my son too.' 'I won't allow that woman and her boy to endanger Isaac,' Sarai declared. Silence fell between them. Night came, but rest eluded Abraham. Restless, he left his tent and gazed at the starry sky. A soft yet firm voice echoed within him. 'Do not be distressed about the boy and your servant. Listen to whatever Sarai tells you. It is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. I will also make a nation of the son of the servant, because he is your offspring.' At dawn, with a heavy heart, Abraham took bread and a skin of water. He approached Hagar's tent. 'You must leave,' he said bluntly. Hagar looked at him in disbelief. 'Leave? Where to?' 'To the desert,' Abraham replied, avoiding her gaze. 'God will be with you.' 'After all this time,' she protested, her voice tinged with anguish, 'is this how you send us away?' 'It's necessary,' he affirmed, handing her the provisions. 'I can do no more.' With tears in her eyes, Hagar took Ishmael by the hand and left the camp. The desert stretched endlessly before them, a vast nothingness. The heat was stifling, the water skin emptied quickly. Ishmael, weak and dehydrated, collapsed. 'Mother, I can't go on,' he whispered. Hagar, desperate, laid him under a bush. 'Wait here,' she said, her voice breaking. She walked a few steps away, and unable to bear watching her son die, burst into tears. 'My God, why?' Hagar cried out. Then a voice from heaven spoke to her. 'What troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the boy's voice. Rise, lift the boy, and hold him with your hand, for I will make him a great nation.' Surprised, Hagar opened her eyes and saw a well of water that wasn't there before. She ran, filled the water skin, and gave Ishmael a drink. Life returned to the boy's eyes. At that time, God decided to test Abraham. "Abraham," the Lord called. "Here I am," Abraham responded, always ready to hear his voice. Then God gave him an instruction that would shake any father's heart to the core. "Take your only son, Isaac, whom you love so dearly. Go to the region of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on the mountain I will show you." Abraham's soul was filled with a storm of emotions. How can this be? He thought. He's the son of promise. But his unwavering faith sustained him. At dawn the next day, he rose early and commanded with resolve, "Prepare the donkey. We'll depart at sunrise." He took his beloved son Isaac by the hand, and together they set out for the place God had designated. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there to worship, and then we will come back to you." He placed the wood for the burnt offering on Isaac's shoulders. He carried the fire and the knife in his own hands. As they walked in silence, Isaac spoke up. "Father?" "Yes, my son," Abraham replied. "We have the fire and the wood," said Isaac, "but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham, struggling to contain his emotions, replied, "God will provide the lamb for the sacrifice, my son." They arrived at the place God had shown them. Abraham built an altar and arranged the wood. Each movement was an internal struggle. He turned to Isaac, his eyes red with anguish. With trembling hands, Abraham bound his son. Isaac, bewildered, cried out, "Father, what are you doing?" Tears flowed. "God has asked for this," he whispered. "Trust in him." He raised his hand, gripping the knife to sacrifice his son. At that moment, a voice from heaven called out, "Abraham, Abraham!" His hand froze midair. "Here I am," he responded desperately. "Do not lay a hand on the boy or harm him. Now I know that you fear God, for you have not withheld your son from me." Abraham dropped the knife. An indescribable relief washed over him. He untied Isaac and embraced him tightly. "Father!" Isaac exclaimed, his eyes filled with tears and wonder. "God is merciful," Abraham replied, caressing his son's face. Suddenly, Abraham looked up and saw behind him a ram caught by its horns in a thicket. Without hesitation, he took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering instead of his son. Then the angel of the Lord called to him a second time from heaven and said, "I swear by my own name that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your offspring will conquer the cities of their enemies, and through your descendants all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." Abraham, with tears still in his eyes, embraced his son and said, "Let's go home." Sometime later, news broke Abraham's heart. Sarai, his beloved wife of 127 years, had died. He felt a deep sorrow, an immense void. But he needed to give Sarai a worthy resting place. He went to the city of Hebron to meet with the Hittites. "I am a foreigner and stranger among you," he said to the sons of Heth. "Sell me some property for a burial site here so I can bury my dead." The sons of Heth replied, "Sir, listen to us. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will refuse you his tomb for burying your dead." But Abraham persisted. "Allow me to buy the cave of Machpelah that belongs to Ephron." Ephron, present among them, replied, "My lord, I give it to you. The cave and the surrounding field are yours." "No," Abraham said firmly, I will pay the fair price. Ephron answered, My lord, hear me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver, but what is that between you and me? Bury your dead. Without hesitation, Abraham weighed out the silver and handed it over. Thus, he acquired his first property in the Promised Land. So, Ephron's field in Machpelah, facing Mamre, with the cave and all the trees in the field, became Abraham's property as a family burial site. After this, Abraham buried Sarai in the cave of the field at Machpelah in the land of Canaan. Abraham secured a resting place for his family for generations. It was a testament to his commitment to the land God had promised him. After Sarai's death, Abraham found comfort and companionship in Keturah, a woman he married and had 6 more children with, thus expanding the family God had promised him. Yet an inner voice troubled him. What of Isaac? He needs a companion. His son's loneliness worried him, for upon Isaac rested God's promise. Abraham summoned Eliezer, a loyal servant, and asked him to find a wife for Isaac. Placing his hand under his master's thigh, Eliezer swore to fulfill his mission. Upon reaching the city of Nahor, Eliezer halted by the well outside the city. It was the hour when women came out to draw water. Suddenly, a radiantly beautiful young woman appeared. It was Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel. Eliezer was awestruck. Could it be her? He wondered. He approached her and asked, Whose daughter are you? I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah and Nahor, Rebekah replied. Amazement swept over Eliezer. She was indeed from Abraham's family. Blessed be the Lord, he exclaimed. Is there room in your father's house for us to stay? Of course, she affirmed. There's space and food for your camels too. In Bethuel's house, after sharing the story, Eliezer made his request. My master Abraham sent me to find a wife for his son Isaac. Rebekah is the chosen one. Laban, Rebekah's brother, and Bethuel replied, This is from the Lord. Take Rebekah and go. The next day, Eliezer
아군이 왔다. 사람이 하는 섬이 누구 있었나요? 섬이 누구 있었나요?
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I need to turn this